Well, hey there, guys. How you doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. On my last video a few days ago, I discussed what's going on with these rumors about the Xbox Scorpio and the PlayStation 4 Neo. I love that name, Xbox Scorpio, because it's terrible. I actually think it's a horrible name. And as I said before, it's only a code name for something that we don't even know is real. And code names do not have to be great. Sometimes a bad code name actually makes it more entertaining and more memorable. Project Cafe was a weird code name. Dolphin was actually kind of cool, I guess. What was the PS4? The Morpheus, I think? That's cool just because of the Matrix, but outside of that, it's kind of weird. Anyway, I was discussing those units, those rumors about what's happening with those two consoles, and through that, I received a comment, and I can't remember if it was on the video or on Twitter. I actually tried to find it, and I feel terrible that I couldn't find it, so I cannot give this person a shout out like I was hoping to. But someone, either on Twitter or on the video somewhere, asked me this question about whether or not, this topic had also been brought up before by other people, by the way, as well, whether or not these rumors about the Xbox, the Scorpio, and the PlayStation 4 Neo are Sony and Microsoft's response to whatever Nintendo is doing with the NX. Basically, again, assuming that these things turn out to be true and real, are Sony and Microsoft afraid, quote unquote, of Nintendo and or afraid of the NX? And it's a really interesting topic. I think that there's definitely some merit to the conversation and to the question for sure. Whoever you are, thanks for the question. I am so sorry I could not find the comment so I can give you a proper shout out, but I do appreciate you asking me about it and wanting me to talk about it. And so, I mean, to get to the actual question, if these are real, are they a response to the NX? Is there any sort of impact that the NX and the rumors about the NX are influencing what Sony and Microsoft may be doing, trying to release upgraded versions of their current generation machines for the sake of satiating the need for more power and a higher frame rate and better pixel quality and all these things? Maybe a little bit. You know, I think it's interesting because you have to wonder if even Sony or Microsoft probably has inside information or know insiders that work for Nintendo or people that can get the inside tip because of their station in the video game industry. And maybe they actually know more about what the NX truly is going to be than we do. And if that's the case, and maybe if, you know, a lot of our hopes and dreams about the NX being really, really powerful is true, then, I mean, maybe there's a possibility that what Nintendo might be doing with the NX could be kind of influencing Sony and Microsoft to be releasing these new platforms. Ultimately, though, you guys, I don't really think that's the case. And it sucks to say because, you know, Nintendo's my favorite company, and I'm so excited for what the NX is going to be. I think it's going to be great. I mean, there's certainly a chance it won't be great, as I've discussed as well, but ultimately I believe in Nintendo, and I think this thing is going to be pretty radical. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And I do think Nintendo is immensely important to the gaming industry, but the way they have slowly been segregating themselves from what the other two guys are doing with their consoles and like the general MO, the modus operandi of all these companies has kind of been changing and shifting, and Sony and Microsoft are moving in this direction and Nintendo's been moving in this direction. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that's a fine thing if Nintendo can come around and be successful with this idea. And in doing so, I feel like Nintendo isn't really worried about influencing these other companies, and I think that these other companies, as important as Nintendo is, aren't really worried about what Nintendo is going to be doing in that respect. Now, I do think they pay attention to Nintendo, and Nintendo definitely pays attention to them. Everyone pays attention to everybody. Of these three companies, there's no doubt what everyone is doing still carries weight within this industry and for everyone else and, you know, the other three players. Like, there's no one company that doesn't care about the other one. But because Sony and Microsoft have been so closely chasing each other and chasing the same ultimate goal with their consoles this last couple of years and generations, I feel like they're more influenced by the other company when it comes to doing something like this than they are by Nintendo. And Nintendo, definitely the same. That may be changing with the NX. They may have realized, okay, third parties matter, EA's sports games matter, really strong marketing matters. Okay, you know, these other companies, they've been doing that. Online matters. We have to start doing that. But still, I don't think that they're trying to be in gaming what Sony and Microsoft have been trying to be in gaming. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I actually love that. I like that I can get different things, I can satiate my different gaming needs from all the different companies in different ways, and I think that that's wonderful. So what Nintendo is doing with the NX, because it's such a mystery, it's also really hard to even answer that question because we don't know if it's going to be powerful enough that it's going to be meeting the needs that these new consoles from Sony and Microsoft might be giving us. I ultimately still feel like Sony and Microsoft are just pretty confident with what their systems are, what their sort of stature in the industry is, how they present themselves, how they're looked at. I think that they don't need to worry about whatever Nintendo may be doing. Now, all that being said, I still should give some credence to this idea, though, because I don't want to totally just crap all over it like it's not worthy of talking about, which is why I'm talking about it today. Because Nintendo is doing something so weird and mysterious, and whether or not the Sony and Microsoft guys have any idea of what Nintendo is doing secretly or not, kind of doesn't matter. Because what they're doing is so mysterious, I mean, yeah, there is still that possibility because Nintendo's one of the major players. They're the oldest one in the biz. They've changed the market so much these last couple of years with what they did with the Wii, and we've seen Sony and Microsoft attempt to chase Nintendo directly. Yes, there's a possibility that they're like, man, maybe Nintendo's finally going to come out swinging the way we've been worried they might again, and what if this thing is a hit, and what if it somehow makes us obsolete? Now, I just don't think that's going to happen as much as I think the NX is going to be great. Part of it is I don't think that what they're going to do, no matter, even if it's the best thing ever, I don't think it's going to make Sony and Microsoft's consoles and their approach obsolete. I think that what they do in the markets that they cater to are going to last for a long time. And again, I think that's a good thing. And I also think that Sony and Microsoft probably realize the same thing. I think that they know, man, if Nintendo comes out with this great thing and it's a huge hit and it changes gaming and people love it, I don't think that they're going to think that they're behind necessarily. It's interesting because it's hard because we're talking about something so mysterious. We don't know what the NX is, but I just feel like it's got to be something so crazy that it makes another paradigm shift, a bigger shift than even what, the Wii did and the Wii Remote did, to have Sony and Microsoft start to scramble. I really feel like what Sony and Microsoft are maybe doing with these new consoles is just meeting the needs of developers. You guys, I talked about that months and months ago when I first kind of discussed the idea. I think that this is coming from developers saying, we need your systems to be more capable because it's holding us back, and we want to make everything on par with what PCs can do. We shouldn't have to make the PC counterpart of a game on par with the limitations of your consoles. It should be vice versa or all even. And there's really no one has actually come out and really kind of said that. It's just my personal theory, but goddamn, do I believe it. I really think that is not the only, but a huge, huge factor into why Sony and Microsoft might be making these upgrades. Other factors such as the gamers want it, people, I can't remember the name of it, the resolution gate or whatever, like, what's the resolution like? What's with the frame rate? This and that and the other, and make it better. Why are things being sacrificed? My PC looks better, da-da-da. Like, that gamer has a very large voice nowadays, very, very vocal, and I think that it's just finally gotten to the point where it's reached these guys and gals that run these companies, Sony and Microsoft, so that they were like, man, we really got to figure this out. The developers need more power. The gamers are asking for better frame rates and resolution. We have to do something, but we can't totally screw everyone over. What's the best way to do it? We don't want to become a PC, but what if we just marginally upgrade, which does, I don't know, this, that, and the other, whatever bells and whistles these things might end up doing. And I've discussed several times, including my last video, the goods and bads of the ideas of them doing this. So if you're curious how I feel about that, watch that video if you haven't yet below. But, I just feel like that's what Sony and Microsoft are concerned with. I don't think they're concerned about Nintendo, you guys. I mean, most people that follow Rule of Two Review, you're Nintendo fans like I am, so maybe you want to hear, oh man, they're just terrified of Nintendo. Nintendo's going to come out and they're just going to be like blowing the shit out of everything, and no one's going to care about the PlayStation or the Xbox anymore because the NX is going to be so great. And I do think the NX is going to be so great, but I don't think it's going to have that kind of impact or influence. I mean, at least not right away. I think it would take a long time, and it would probably take so long that it would be the end of this generation altogether. And then, it'll be another 5 years down the road where all three companies are making their next machines. The PlayStation 5, the Xbox 2, and the whatever Nintendo makes at that point, I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. And at that time, we might see the companies, all three of them or any of the three, implement some of these successes that Nintendo may see with the NX if the NX really changes the game as much as a lot of us wants to. Could the NX come out and be the most powerful thing? Yeah, it could be. I mean, I know that this whole conversation about the Scorpio and the Neo and the NX and who's influencing who really comes down to power. People just want to talk about power. People are concerned about the power of these machines. I'm concerned to a degree. I want a powerful machine in general. I don't need graphics and this, that, or the other, but I do like them. I've said it many times. So I like playing games on my PlayStation 4 because it looks better than my other consoles. And my gaming PC is okay. I don't really play much on it anymore. There hasn't been anything I feel like I need to play on PC because I have my consoles and I like them, but yes, I like playing pretty games. I love that Mario Kart and Smash Brothers and Bayonetta looks amazing. I'm playing, what am I playing? Oh, I just played through Uncharted 4. I didn't love that game because it was beautiful, but goddamn was it beautiful. Like, what a wonderful addition to the experience when a game is beautiful. So yeah, power under the hood matters. I like it, but I don't need it. But that is why people are talking about it. As everyone wants to know, is Nintendo's thing so powerful that it's scaring the other guys into making these last-minute rash decisions and upgrading their hardware, something unprecedented that we've never seen mid-cycle? And it sounds good. I would love the idea of it. I'm telling you that I don't think that's true, but I will also tell you that I would like it to be true. I would love Nintendo to gain that influence back and be that kind of market leader, even just in the power, not just in like the controls and the wacky ideas, but even in terms of tech and power, like they used to be. The GameCube was leading edge technology when it was out. It wasn't the best console available, but a lot of what it did was really impressive. It was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. And the N64 was leading edge technology, the Super Nintendo going way back, and vice versa, all the way back. So I would love for them to be those guys again. And I would love, even though I like Sony and Microsoft, sure, I get like a little, inside my brain, I get a little kick about thinking about Sony and Microsoft shaking in their boots a little bit about what Nintendo might be doing. Like that kind of, I'm just like, haha, that'd be kind of sweet. But again, in wrapping this all up, I don't think that that's what's happening, you guys. I just feel like Nintendo's separated themselves, obviously not completely, but enough so that what they might be doing isn't going to be influencing Sony and Microsoft, and vice versa. I think that if the NX does a lot of the right things and maybe is a little bit more similar to Sony and Microsoft's machines, as the years go on, the whole ideas might start to merge again and everyone's kind of doing some of the same things, but hopefully keeping themselves unique and individual. I think that may happen, but I don't think that, bottom line, I don't think that the Xbox Scorpio and the PlayStation Neo are responses to the NX or Nintendo, and I don't think that they're happening because those companies are necessarily worried about Nintendo or afraid of them, so to speak. I'm sure that they're curious. They're probably both excited and a little bit nervous because, sure, they don't want it. They might want it to come out and be successful. I don't really think these guys wish complete doom and gloom and failure on the competition. Obviously, they want to outperform them, but I don't think any of them like hate the other guys and want them to outright fail. So I'm sure they're curious about the NX. But I guess, yeah, they're probably a little bit worried that it's going to be so amazing that they're going to have to catch up, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, kind of a tough conversation to have in a lot of ways just because we don't really know what the NX is and it's all theoretical. Okay, not only do we not know what the NX is, we don't even know if the Scorpio and Neo are real. Like, let me just remind everyone of that. I mean, it's been such a conversation of fact about these things for weeks, and not enough people, I think, are driving the point home that it still may not end up being true. If it's true, we're going to find out like in a week and a half or whatever when E3 finally happens, because I'm sure that Sony and Microsoft will reveal these consoles if in fact they exist. They will do that. If they don't, then they're probably not happening, and I think that that's going to be just fine if that is the case. Anyway, I fumbled myself through this video enough. It was a really interesting topic. It's an interesting idea. Long story short, I'm excited to see what happens, period. Xbox, Scorpio, PlayStation Neo, whatever. I guess we'll see if that happens. Nintendo NX, I'm super excited. Please show us this thing freaking soon, Nintendo. We're dying here. We're chomping at the bit. We're drowning in this information and rumor. Like, we just want to know what all this stuff is, man. So all these guys need to give us info stat. That's what I think about that. But what do you guys think about this idea? Do you think that there's merit, there's credence to the concept that maybe Sony and Microsoft are reacting to what Nintendo might be doing? Or do you think that, kind of more like I am, that they're not necessarily too worried about it? They're doing it because there's different pressures that are causing them to have to make these upgrades, and Nintendo is just going to kind of be riding their own course for a little bit like usual with the NX up until the reveal. Tell me what you guys think. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in. Thanks to that random person who I can't remember who asked me this question and wanted me to talk about it on the topic. And this is Rob of Rule of Two Review. I'll catch you guys next time on another video.